안녕하세요. 혼자 있는 고양이 제니예요. 오늘은 해리포터 2권 챕터16 The Chamber of Secrets 어제 있던 거 마저 읽어보도록 할게요. 야옹! Harry and Ron walked away, hardly daring to believe that awaited attention. As they turned the corner, they distinctly heard Professor McGonagall blow her nose. "That," said Ron fervently, "was the best story you ever come up with." They had no choice now but to go to the hospital wing, tell Madame Pomfrey that they had Professor McGonagall's permission to visit Hermione. Madame Pomfrey let them in, but reluctantly. "There's just no point talking to a petrified person," she said, and they had to admit she was right to their taking their seats next to Hermione. It was plain that Hermione didn't have the faintest inkling that she had visitors, and they might just as well tell her bedside cabinet not to worry, for a little good could do. "Wonder if she sees to the attacker, though," said Ron, looking sadly at Hermione's rigid face. "Because if he sneaked up on a wall, no one will ever know." But Harry wasn't looking at Hermione's face. He was more interested in her right hand. It lay clenched onto her plates, and bending closer, it saw the piece of paper scrunched inside her fist. Making sure that Madame Pomfrey was nowhere in here, they pointed out to Ron. "Try getting out," Ron whispered, shifting his chair so that it blocked Harry from Madame Pomfrey's view. It was no easy task. Hermione's hand was clasped so tightly around the paper that Harry was sure he was going to tear it. When Ron came to rush, Harry tugged and twisted, and at last, after several tense minutes, the paper came free. It was a page torn from a very old library book. Harry smoothed it out eagerly, and Ron leaned close to read it too. "Of the many fearsome beasts and monsters that roam our land, there is none more curious or more deadly than the basilisk, known also as the king of serpents. This snake, which may reach gigantic size, had lived many hundreds of years. It's born from a chicken's egg, hatched beneath a toad. Its methods of killing are most wondrous, for aside from its deadly and venomous fangs, the basilisk had a murderous stare, and all who are fixed with the beam of his eye shall suffer instant death. Spiders flee before the basilisk, for it is their mortal enemy, and the basilisk flees only for the crowing of the rooster, which is faintly. And beneath this, a single word had been written, and a hand Harry recognized as Hermione's pipes. It was as though something had just flickered light on in his brain. "Ron," he breathed, "this is it. This is an answer. The monster in the chamber's a basilisk, a giant serpent. That's why I've been hearing that voice all over the place, and nobody else has heard it. It's because I understand puzzle tongue." Harry looked up the bats around him. "The basilisk kills people by looking at them, but no one's died because no one's looked it straight in the eyes. Colin saw it through his camera. The basilisk burned up on the firm inside it, but Colin just stood petrified. Justin must have seen the basilisk through nearly headless Nick. Nick got the full blast of it, but he couldn't die again. but Hermione and that Ravenclaw prefect were found in the mirror next to them. Hermione had just realized the monster was Basilisk. I bet you anything she weren't the first person she met to look around the corners with the mirror first. And that girl pulled her to mirror and Ron's jaw had dropped. "And Mrs. Norris," he whispered eagerly. Harry thought hard, picturing the scene on London night for Halloween. "The water," he said slowly. "The flood from Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. I bet you Mrs. Norris only saw the reflection." He scanned the page in his hand eagerly, and the more he was looking at it, the more it made sense. "The crowing of the rooster is fatal to it," he read aloud. "Hagrid's wizards are killed. The heir of Slytherin didn't want one anywhere near the castle once the chamber was open. Spiders flee before it. It all fits." "But how's the basilisk baiting getting around the place?" said Ron. "The dirty grey snake someone had seen." Harry, however, pointed at the word Hermione had scribbled at the front of the page. "Pipes," he said. "Pipes! Ron, it's been losing the plumbing. It's been playing footways inside the walls." Ron suddenly grabbed Harry's arm. "The entrance to the Chamber of Secrets," he said hoarsely. "What if it's a bathroom? What if it's in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom?" said Harry. They sat there, excitement coursing through them, hardly able to believe it. "This means," said Harry, "White can't be the only Parsimouth in the school. The heir of Slytherin's one too. That's how they've been controlling the basilisk." "What are we going to do?" said Ron, whose eyes were flashing. "Shall we go straight to McGonagall?" "Let's go to the staff room," said Harry, jumping up. "She'll be there in 10 minutes, near your break." They ran downstairs. Not wanting to be discovered hanging around in the muddy corridor, they went straight into the deserted staff room. It was a large, paneled room, full of dark wooden chairs. Harry and Ron paced around it, too excited to sit down. But the bell to signal break never came. Instead, echoing through the corridors, came Professor McGonagall's voice, magically magnified. "All students to return to their house dormitories at once. All teachers return to the staff room immediately, please." Harry wheeled around to stare at Ron. "Not another attack, no, no. What'll we do?" said Ron, aghast. "Go back to the dormitory?" "No," said Harry, glancing around. "There is an ugly sort of wardrobe to his left, full of the teachers' cloaks. In here, let's hear what it's all about. Then we could tell them what we found out." They hid themselves inside it, listening toward the laundering of hundreds of people moving overhead, and the staff room door banging open. Between the musky folds of the cloaks, they watched the teachers filtering into a room. Some of them were being puzzled, others downright scared. Then Professor McGonagall arrived. "It has happened," she told the silent staff room. "A student has been taken by the monster, right into the chamber itself." Professor Sprigwig let out a squeak. Professor Sprout clapped her hands over her mouth. Snape gripped the back of the chair very odd and said, "How can you be sure?" "The heir of Slytherin," said Professor McGonagall, who was very white, "left another message, right underneath the first one. Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever." Professor Sprigwig burst into tears. "Who is it?" said Madame Hooch, who had sunk resigned into a chair. "Which student?" "Ginny Weasley," said Professor McGonagall. Harry felt Ron slide slightly down onto the wardrobe floor beside him. "We shall have to send all the students home tomorrow," said Professor McGonagall. "This is the end of Hogwarts. Dumbledore always said." The stuffed door banged open again. For one wild moment, he was sure it would be Dumbledore, but it was Lockhart, and he was beaming. "So sorry, dozed off. What have I missed?" He didn't seem to notice that the other teachers were looking at him with something remarkably like hatred. Snape stepped forward. "Just the man," he said, "the very man. A girl has been snatched by the master, Lockhart, taken into the Chamber of Secrets itself. Your moment has come at last." Lockhart blanched. "That's right, Gilderoy," chirped Professor Sprout. "Weren't you saying just last night that you've known all along where the entrance to the Chamber of Secrets is?" I spurtled Lockhart. "Yes, didn't you tell me you were sure you knew what is inside it?" piped up Professor Sprickwick. Did I? I don't recall. I certainly remember you saying you were sorry you hadn't had a crack at the monster before Hagrid was arrested," said Snape. "Didn't you say that the whole affair had been bungled, and that you used to be given a free rein from the first?" Lockhart stared around and his stony face colored. I really never, you misunderstood. We'll leave it to you then, Gilderoy," said Professor McGonagall. "Tonight will be excellent time to do it. We'll make sure everyone's out of the way. You'll be able to tackle the monster all by yourself. A free rein at last." 재미있게 들으셨다면 구독과 좋아요 꾹꾹 눌러주시고 다음 영상에서 만나요.